come the thing. The thing done become the thing. The thing done become the thing. The thing done become the thing.
Hello everyone, my name is Lorens. Welcome to episode 16 of Doing Art. This episode is with director Benjamin Viertel. Benjamin has a fantastic resume as a director, and in my own opinion, he is one director we all should watch out for. This was a very fun episode, a great episode. I learned a lot from the conversation we had, and I'm sure you would. You can learn more about Ben by going to the website of the podcast, doingart.net. On there, I have several links to his work, and you can learn more about him on there. But first of all, listen to the conversation. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I present Benjamin Viertel. In your face.
And I do hear that a lot about people in the South Germany have a hard time meeting people.
Yeah.
That's something that I heard a lot about, especially in Munich. In Munich, you can hardly meet people because everyone's so friendly. As a German, I feel comfortable saying that.
Okay, so let's talk about you.
Talk about me.
You're German.
I'm German.
Okay. A lot of things.
I'm a lot of different things.
So let's just start from the beginning.
Okay, yes.
All right.
We can start.
Ben Viertel, welcome to Doing Art. All right. Where are you from?
Oh gosh, it's funny because a lot of people ask me, where are you from? I hear an accent.
Yeah.
I'm
hearing the accent now.
You hear it now more, yeah.
Maybe I would have heard it if I had expected it.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but I didn't expect it. So
no.
Now I hear it.
Yeah, I was born in France and in Nice.
Okay.
In the south of
Nice.
France. And I was born there, but I live in Saint-Jean-Cap-Ferrat, which is like a little mountain area, a little mountain kind of like...
Yeah.
It's in a bay. And I lived there, and then my father is from Berlin.
Okay.
He's German.
Okay.
And my mother is from Florence, Italy.
Oh. Florence, Italy.
In Florence, yeah. And even though she was born in Milan, but she grew up in Florence.
Okay.
And I grew up there because they couldn't decide whether to be in Germany or to Italy. They wanted to be in a place that they loved, and the south of France is not a bad place to grow up.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not bad. And then when I was 9, we moved with my younger sister, all to South Florida, where culture goes to die.
I don't know a lot about Florida, but I know enough about their laws, their gun laws, but that's something for later.
Oh God, yeah, Florida's nuts.
Let's keep talking about you.
Florida's nuts. It's Florida's crazy, but South Florida is a little bit more like north in terms of personality.
Okay. You said Boca Raton?
Boca Raton is where we moved to.
Oh.
And I was there.
Isn't that like a retirement?
It's totally.
place?
Most of Florida is a retirement home.
Okay.
It's a giant retirement home with golf courses and the part that I grew up in Boca Raton is predominantly Jewish and New York Jews actually. So a lot of people that have come down and have had kids in Florida rather than staying up in New York. It's a lot of Long Island people.
Oh.
And so I moved there, and then I converted to Judaism there. So I became a South Florida Jew.
Okay. Now, hold on 1 minute.
Yeah, it's very confusing.
You are not Jewish, and you went there, you converted to the religion.
To the religion, yes.
Your whole family?
My mother and my sister.
Okay.
Because my father was raised Lutheran, like
Okay.
most Germans,
Mm-hmm.
and my mother was raised Catholic, like
Yeah.
most Italians. And but they hated their religions.
Okay.
They were forced to do things that they didn't agree with, that
Yeah.
they didn't feel inside them was right, and so they decided to, when they were going to have me and my sister, to let us decide our own religion, to
Yeah.
not push us to be like them or to believe what they wanted. They were raised.
At what age did this happen? Did this
Well,
conversion?
I was raised non-religious, but we celebrated Christmas because a kid
Yeah.
that doesn't celebrate something at that point, if
Something
it's
becomes
Kwanzaa or
yeah.
if it's Hanukkah or something, kids want presents in
Yes,
December.
yeah.
So I think that's why we celebrated Christmas, but not because of any religious thing.
Okay.
We never went to church or temple or anything as a child. And then when I moved to South Florida, as a foreigner, as someone with a really, really heavy accent, because my mother spoke English and my father spoke English and I spoke English. So we spoke English to each other,
Yeah.
but that was none of our first
languages. Okay.
And so when I moved to Florida, I didn't fit in. I was an international.
Yeah.
I had a funny accent. It felt like I was the only non-Jew in Boca Raton, Florida. And so I was immediately on the outside.
Yeah.
And so I started getting connected to this temple that my mom was working at as a videographer.
Okay.
And she was like, "Oh, Ben, the music is so good. The music is so nice. You should come with me." And I was like, "What is this?" Blah, blah, blah. And so long story short, I ended up really, really connecting to the religion.
Okay.
I took a class there, this conversion class, which is mostly, giving you all of the insights of what the religion is.
By then, had your mother converted?
She was planning on converting.
Okay.
She was in the process and said, "I'm going to do this. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I'm going to do this."
And how old were you again?
I was, oh goodness. I converted when I was 15. So I'd say maybe 14, 13 was the process, was the start of the...
Yeah, the bar mitzvah, is it?
The bar mitzvah I did when I was 21. Yeah. And so bar mitzvah is basically the first time you read Torah.
Okay.
And it's the first time you read out of, the Bible, the Old Testament.
Yeah.
For those that don't know. And you read on your own. And so that can happen at any point.
Okay.
But conversion is when you say, "Okay, I'm gonna be Jewish.
I see.
I'm gonna believe what comes with it." But I converted to Reform Judaism, which is kind of like Judaism light.
Yeah.
It's like half the fat, and so I converted to that. Because I ended up realizing that everything I had already believed inside, and the way that Jews look at the world, or the way that we try to be good people, or the way that we the philosophy behind the religion, already made sense to me. That when I converted, it felt like now I could just label it.
Yes.
Everything that I already believed.
Yeah.
And so everything I was like, "Oh yeah, well, obviously this is how it is. This is how things work in my brain.
Yeah.
This is the connections I have." So it was a very easy conversion.
Wow. So you converted at the age of 14?
15 was when I became Jewish.
And how did you feel? Were you like excited to do this?
Yeah, I was very excited. Because as a person that moved to South Florida and didn't really connect to anyone, I went to this private school that I didn't really fit in, and so I ended up switching in middle school to an arts middle school, and then started doing the arts much more, I I can't say full time, but like I was definitely didn't fit in where I had been, where we had relocated.
Okay.
And so when I decided to become Jewish, it felt like, here's this piece that I was missing. I was missing a community. I was missing
I see what you mean.
A connection, a relationship to other people. And at that young age, I couldn't really articulate it, that that's what I was missing. But I knew that this new community that I had become now finally a part of was a connection that I had been missing in my life.
I see.
And now looking back, I can say it's because I didn't have X, Y, and Z. But at the time, I said, no.
Couldn't articulate it.
I couldn't articulate it. No.
I see. Oh, that's very interesting. Wow. So by then you were already in high school or middle school?
I was in middle school, right? 15. Well, I had to redo third grade 3 times.
Okay.
So, I could have been 15 and I could have been in first grade. You know?
Did you redo it 3 times because you were moving around?
Yeah, because I was moving. I did a third grade first time in France.
Okay.
And then I moved to Florida. And did third grade at this public school, and I was doing really, really terribly. Just like super terribly. And my mom wanted me to go to this better school, to this private school, and so finally I'd done third grade and realized that third grade was not so I didn't get good grades. I didn't understand the language. I was very lost. And so then when I went to this private school, they were like, well, your age is for you should be in fourth grade. My mom was like, no, he definitely needs to do third grade again. So I ended up doing third grade 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, so you did high school. Was that the period when you discovered that you were interested in theater and all these things?
No, I realized I was interested in theater, I'd say probably in 4th grade or 5th grade.
Okay.
Fourth grade. No, it was definitely 5th grade because I remember that at this private school, I was at this private school, Pinecrest, from the third time I did third grade to 5th grade. And I remember that they had these school shows, but you couldn't be in them until you were in 6th grade. And so as a 5th grader, it was like kind of like your year where you could do like a small play, like a little, I don't know, like a skit of sorts. And I said, I want to be in the skit. I want to do that. And I remember I was cast as like the grandfather. It was like a Thanksgiving skit or something. I was cast as the grandfather, and I was really, really upset because I wanted to be, the leading kid or something. Which is a theme in my life, always being cast as the old person, because I'm really tall and I'm pretty expressive. And I remember talking to the acting teacher there. I feel terrible. I don't remember her name, but I said, I really wanted to be the lead, and why am I the grandfather? I only show up, for the last 5 minutes. And she said, well, the grandfather's the best character. He has all the funniest lines. He comes in and he steals the show at the end. He's great. He's great. You're going to love it. And so I ended up, really enjoying it and realizing that when we were doing the performance, nobody had memorized their lines. I was the only one that had memorized their lines. And so everyone was holding up like magazines or newspapers, and they glued all of their lines inside the magazine or inside the newspaper. Or, they were looking at whatever, this box, and they glued the lines inside the box. And so everyone, all these 5th graders had their faces inside newspapers and magazines and stuff, and I was the only one being like, except for me.
You ended up becoming the star.
I ended up becoming the star and getting all this applause, and as a 5th grader and getting all this applause and this laughter, you're kind of like, oh well, maybe I could do this for a long time.
Oh, I see.
And
I
so
see.
from there, I decided to go to an arts middle school
Yeah.
and an arts high school.
Mm-hmm.
But in France, my parents recognized that I was a bit of a performer.
Okay.
And so they put me in all these dance classes.
I
and
see.
so I was, as like a young kid, doing tap dancing and doing Irish tap dancing
Wow.
at this like dance studio.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like 20 women and me. And so that's how I kind of got started into the theater through
Adorable.
dance.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember the teacher being like, oh, you're like the next Fred Astaire, as
Wow.
like a young kid. Obviously I was not, but it was like all these really, really great teachers that I had. This dance teacher that really, really loved me, and this acting teacher that said, "Oh yeah, but it's the best. You're great. You're great. You're great." And somehow it got stuck in my head, and then that's how I'm still
Wow.
doing it today.
Do you think? Quick question.
Yeah.
Do you think Europeans encourage art more than Americans? Like European parents, they are easy. It's easier for them to appreciate an artistic child than an American parent.
That's a tough question. I think that, so in Europe, art is funded by the government.
That's another question I was gonna ask.
So I can't say that because it's funded by the government that there is this like allowance that the parents have for their kids to do art, because thinking back, and I have young cousins that live in Europe, and so I talk to them and I find out how it is, and I have also cousins my age, and I have to say that none of them, even my sister, none of them do art. None of them do theater or the young girls probably did a little bit of dance when they were younger.
I see.
But I can't say that it's pushed as a young person. What's definitely pushed is sports.
Okay.
Sports is very much integral in a young person's education. As much as when I was in France, Wednesday was sports day, and we had school on Saturdays as well as a half day.
Okay.
But Wednesday was a half day, and Wednesday was the day where they cut classes early, and then everyone had to go and do sports.
Oh.
And so I remember growing up doing a lot of soccer,
Okay.
because in Europe, soccer is the main sport.
Yeah.
And so I remember doing
Football.
that. Yeah, football, exactly. And so I can't say that there's much. I think it just depends on the kids.
Yeah.
That if the kid wants to do theater as a young person, then there are clubs and there are studios. Like I remember I did this silly little play as a young person in France, but I can't say that because theater is much more of a accepted art form in Europe that everyone does it as a young child.
Yeah,
it's
I
not
see.
really much
I
that.
see.
It's
I see.
yeah.
Okay. So you went to CMU?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to Carnegie Mellon.
Yeah. What was the Carnegie Mellon University for people listening? Yeah. What was your major there?
I studied directing, theater directing.
Now I have a lot of question about that.
Okay, good. I also studied philosophy.
Okay.
So I was a philosophy minor, political philosophy minor.
Okay.
So I did a lot of that studies as well.
All right. But your major was directing.
But my major was directing. Yes.
Whenever I hear directing as a major, it almost sound like, to me, when I was younger, but now I'm trying to accept it. It almost sounds as if somebody goes to school to be a judge instead of going to school to study law. So I'm always under this impression that the director should study acting to be able to direct actors, but obviously I'm wrong. So
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Everyone, there's a lot of opinions about studying directing. There's lots of people. I mean, very famous
Okay.
Tony Award winning directors even say you can't teach someone how to be a director. And I think that is wrong. I mean, having studied directing and having recognized that I wanted to be a director at such a young age that most people don't, recognize that they want to be directors at such a young age. Most directors, I can't say that, because the idea of being a director is means that everyone's going to have a very different relationship to that. And so every director you speak to has a different relationship to how they got to direct.
Yeah.
A lot of directors are people that are actors that have realized that either they're not interested in acting anymore, or they worked in enough musicals and plays that they realized that they could be better than the directors that they've had, or they're choreographers that have decided to also direct, because why not? If you're going to be a choreographer, you're basically doing a full musical on your own. So why not be also the director and get paid more,
I
you know?
see.
Or directors are people that didn't even study theater. They studied English. They studied political science. They studied art. And then they ultimately found themselves in directing. I mean, Diane Paulus did not study theater. And Diane Paulus won the Tony 2 years ago or 3 years ago for directing a musical. And so there's lots of people that get into it for different reasons.
Yeah.
For me, it was very, very important to get a well-rounded education.
Yes.
And so I applied to a lot of directing programs and a lot of acting programs and a lot of stage management kind of production programs, in addition to applying to a few programs that were liberal arts where I could study poli-sci.
Yeah.
Because originally I wanted to study poli-sci.
Okay.
And then do theater on the side. I was very much set on the bachelor's degree, liberal arts, full education, and then ultimately go to grad school for directing.
Like go for an MFA.
Yeah, and then go do an MFA. That was my plan. I ended up not getting into any of the schools that I applied for liberal arts degrees. And I got into all of the conservatory programs.
That was another question. How is it that you're able to do this rigorous conservatory program and still be able to get a minor from the School of Liberal Arts or the School of Arts and Science at Carnegie Mellon? How? Because I didn't study in a conservatory. My degree was in math.
Oh, okay,
I'm
great.
a mathematician all the way through. But whenever I hear conservatory, I think about rigor. I think about inundating your whole self in something, just thinking that day, night, and evening, like just saying fuck it to every other thing and focusing on that thing. So how is it that you're able to maintain your interest in the liberal arts and to the point of getting a minor? I had a minor in philosophy, actually.
Oh,
I
you too.
18 credits, I loved medieval philosophy.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So, but I don't, if I were in a conservatory, I would have just focused on that. What made you continue?
Well, because of this idea that I had that I wanted to get a full education.
Yeah.
I wanted to get a round education.
You wanted a round education. Like it's almost, I'm hearing that you wanted a backup plan, but philosophy for a backup plan is
yeah, I don't know about backup plan.
Okay, you wanted a round.
I wanted a round education.
Okay,
Yeah,
I agree
backup
with
plan for me. I remember there was this guy that my mom worked for who was just like a slob, like a terrible person.
Yeah.
But I remember I was in his car one day and he said, what's so you want to go to theater? And he said, here's just one piece of advice that I have for you. He said, I studied art. And I said to myself, and my parents told me, have a backup plan. And then when I realized that art was too difficult, I had my backup plan. And I went ahead and did that. And I regret it to this day because I could be an artist today,
Yeah.
but because I have this backup plan,
Yeah.
I've decided to do that because it gets hard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so my advice for you is don't have a backup plan.
I've heard that.
Do your
advice
thing
before.
and that's it.
Yeah.
And so for me, I've never had a backup plan.
Okay.
I said, I'm doing theater.
Yeah.
End of story. I'm going to do it as hard as it's going to
Yeah.
be. I'm going to do it. And so if I was going to do it, I was going to be the best at
Yeah.
it. I'm going to try to be the best at it. And the way that I can be the best at it is, for me at least, how I understand it, is that I've got to know everything.
Yeah.
I've got to know about the world. I've got to understand. I've got to question. And I've got to constantly, perpetually ask questions about the world and about myself. And philosophy does that. Philosophy
yes.
makes you see arguments and makes
Yeah.
you see the world in a way and then allows you to question it. So when I'm at a point in my life where I hit a wall or I
Yeah.
hit, what feels like a dead end,
Yeah.
I use the philosophy studies that I took, and I allow myself to figure out solutions around that wall. And so for me, philosophy was sort of like a way it was still part of that round education
Yes.
to learn about politics and to learn about history and literature, but also a way to solve problems that I'm going to encounter.
Definitely.
But so why I chose Carnegie Mellon as opposed to other directing programs, because I got into a few different directing programs.
Okay.
And directing programs that had, where I was the only person accepted, where they only pick one person, and I ended up not going to those programs. I ended up going to CMU because of the teacher there, because
Yeah.
of Jed Allen Harris, who was the head of the undergraduate directing program. And I remember, like, in our interview, because it was supposed to be a half-hour interview, but it ended up being an hour interview. At the end, he grabbed me by the shirt
Wow.
and said, "I want to teach you."
Oh.
And in that moment, I was like, "Oh,
amazing.
like he believes in me
Yes. Yes.
in ways that I don't even believe in myself."
Wow.
And
That's
so
the biggest validation that you could get
yeah.
at such an age. And the most amazing part of it is that you also know what you wanted to do. Like, you wanted to be a director, like you said, you never thought about any backup plan. So if you had all those plans and you reach at that point and somebody tells you that, there must be some, like, how did you feel? It wasn't that like the greatest feeling?
It was amazing. It was amazing. It was amazing. And he's a very, very tough person and incredibly intelligent. And I mean, he's an artist. He's absolutely an artist. And I hope to be as smart or as talented as he is one day. And he believed in us getting a round education, and so he pushed every one of us to get a minor.
Okay.
And that's what was so important about that program as opposed to other programs where I couldn't have time for it. And he built a program where we did have time, and he encouraged us. And he checked up on us and everything. And so much that this round education, that it's not like Carnegie Mellon, where if you study directing, you're going to go there and you're going to learn how to stage a play.
Yeah.
Or you're going to learn how to speak to actors.
Yeah.
We do not have a class on how to speak to actors. Wow. We do not have a class on how to stage a play. We have a semester where we sort of play around with text and powerful positions on stage. Is this more powerful if you put it here, or if the door is there? We have like one semester of that, but it's mostly a script analysis semester. But other than that, it's truly the education there is about how to become a thinking, creative person. So it's called directing, but it's really not so much that. It's more about like, how can you sustain your creative mind over many years?
Wow.
And so for me, so freshman year, for instance, the first semester of directing, all we do is study modern art. So we study, and you get picked, you choose one art movement. And so I ended up choosing Cubism. And so for 9 weeks, all I did was study Cubism. And then I had to create a piece, a 5-minute piece, that is a piece about Cubism and a Cubist piece. So a piece that is not only content, but also form of Cubism.
Wow.
And then the second semester of your freshman year, you do the exact same thing, but you do 2 projects. The first project you do a music project. So you pick, you pick a contemporary composer,
Yeah.
a modern composer. And so I picked John Adams, the opera composer.
Yeah.
And then the second half of the semester, you pick a choreographer. And I picked Alvin Ailey. And then, so you do the exact same thing. You study for 4.5 weeks that composer. You study everything about them. And then you create a piece that uses the music. And then a piece that goes, so something that is in harmony with the music and something that is in discord or in contrast to the music. And then you do the same thing. And I picked Alvin Ailey, and you do a piece that is like Alvin Ailey piece, and you choreograph it. And so at the end of your freshman year, you've not only studied these different artists, but you also learn of all of the other artists that all the other classmates have chosen. And so, and I remember the teacher said, at the end of this year, you might not be a better director. No, that's not true. He didn't say that. But he said something along the lines of, I'm trying to remember. He's like, you're going to be the most popular person at a cocktail party. Because you can talk about art, you can talk about music, you can talk about dance.
Wow. And in a way, isn't that what directors end up doing? Like, they end up being able to envision all this, every character and what surrounds that character.
Yeah. And art, and because art is sort of a regurgitation of what has already been created, I know everything that I mean, I don't know everything, but I know so much about Martha Graham and about
the choreographer.
Yeah, about Charles Mingus and about abstract expressionism. And I know so much about these things because of this class. And that now when I pick a play, that's how I start. I start saying, is the movement in this play more of a Merce Cunningham piece, or is it more of a Pina Bausch piece? Does it sound more like Cole Porter, or does it sound like Stockhausen? Does it look like a Picasso piece, or does it look like like Pollock? All these things that I have relationships to all of these different artists. And that's how I start with everything. And that's what this class was able to do. And that's basically just a metaphor of the entire education at Carnegie Mellon is how to be an artist because you know so much of the art that's happening around you.
That's so amazing. I didn't expect all that explanation, but I'm so happy. I just learned a lot. Wow. Now, I have a question. I want to go back to your childhood.
Oh, God.
I totally believe that. I'm not going to tell you what I believe.
Okay.
How does your being an outsider, because you mentioned being an outsider when you were younger, like having this not belonging, not feeling like you belong. Does that have anything to do with your art? Has that helped propel your art in any way? Has that helped to encourage you to be prolific, to do better, to keep challenging yourself, to reach this point where everybody is gonna see, hey, this is amazing. I'm creating this, and I'm showing this so that you can see that I'm really good and you can accept me and validate me.
Yeah.
Does that, maybe not all that, but has your outsidership, not belonging, has that played any role?
Yeah, I definitely think so.
Yeah.
I mean, looking back at all
Yeah.
the plays that I pick,
Yeah.
you know, it's funny because I'm 26 in a month,
Okay.
and there's still a lot
birthday.
I have to learn.
Yeah.
There's still a lot that I have to experience so that I can become the best version of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so right now where I'm at, it's easier for other people to look at my life and to say, here are the connections I'm seeing, than it is for me to
Yes.
make those connections
see.
right now, because I'm still a bit too much in it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still too much trying to figure it out,
Yeah.
which is great,
Mm-hmm.
which is super, super great. But you know, when I pick a play and I talk to my roommates about it, or I talk to friends about it, they all say to me, "Oh, that's such a you thing to do," you know, and
Yeah.
I'm just sort of like, really?
Really?
Like,
What
I
do you
don't
mean?
see how this connects to everything else that I've done, but I can comfortably say that probably all the plays I've chosen
Yeah.
are plays about outsiders. But then again, if you're a theater person,
Yeah.
you're pretty much an outsider.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's also easy to say that every play that exists is about an outsider. Everyone feels at some point in their life like an outsider,
Yeah.
and they will connect to outsiders in a play.
Mm-hmm.
Things that are happening around a character will ultimately always make that character feel like an outsider because they don't have control over those circumstances that are surrounding them. And so, yes, I am an outsider. And yes, even though I'm white and male, I am an outsider. And it's sort of terrible to say that because there are other people that are even more outsiders. So I'm not trying to devalue that other people that are more outside are, you know, that I'm as outside of them, you know, try to, you know, add problems to myself so that I can feel like a human.
I know.
I'm not trying to say that
Yeah.
because I know that that's definitely something that a lot of people say and do, you know, they'll, especially people that come from wealthy families.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I think that a lot of people create problems for themselves so that they can feel like they're an outsider. And I didn't come from a wealthy family at all. I've had to pay for my own education. Have massive student loan debt, you know, student
a lot, yeah.
debt that I'm paying for every month. But I think that everyone does feel like an outsider because they're unable to control their circumstances.
Yes.
And so, yes, I think that being an outsider has helped me connect to the plays that I choose or the characters that I choose to put on a stage. But I can't say like I'm doing the theater of the outsider. You know, I can't like label it because I think that I'm also trying to do so many other things right now. Like I think I'm trying to do the theater, like economic theater right now. I think I'm trying to do politics, like political theater. A little bit maybe more specific than political theater because political theater has such a wide umbrella and has such a historical connection to a certain type of theater, even though what I'm doing right now might not fall into that, you know, idea of what political theater is.
We're going to talk about those. One question I wanted to ask about.
Sorry, I'd ramble.
No.
I just talk and talk and talk. You can just say, shut up.
This is your time.
This is my time.
Your time, man. Say whatever you want in any way you want to say it. I am learning a lot. I have a question about directing.
Okay.
I still can't get over the fact that guy told you that, because that's something that people don't get a lot in the arts. Like, to be a good artist, I feel like it helps a lot if you have somebody, if you have like a mentor of a sort, like and any mentor that sees you and say, I want to teach you, and somebody that great, that's something really huge. You know?
Yeah.
And when you said that, it made me, the first thing that came to my mind was, what's the audition process like for directing, for a
Yeah.
directing program?
Yeah. Well, a lot of
Do you have to present something you've directed?
Yeah. Well, so mostly so you have to do a monologue, 1 or 2 monologues.
Okay.
I think I had to do like 3 for Boston University, which is ridiculous. And then you have like an interview. And your interview consists of going through a portfolio, your portfolio of stuff, and then they'll ask you questions. They'll basically just learn about you, the place that you've chosen to do, the experiences you've chosen for yourself as a young person, and then most likely there's a writing part to it. So you have to pick a play, you have to analyze it, you have to, write a paper on it.
Yeah.
So it's 3 parts. It's writing, it's speaking about yourself and about the projects you've been a part of, and then it's an acting part.
Okay.
And each school has a different value for different things.
Yeah.
So like Boston University, I remember doing the monologues first and then going through my portfolio and then handing in my writing sample or whatever it was. And I think they just didn't like me as an actor. And so when I did my portfolio, they didn't ask me any questions. They were just very much like they didn't care. I had already not been accepted in their mind at Boston University. Yeah. I remember very distinctly where I, in my portfolio, I directed the year before Mother Courage and Her Children, which is one of the most famous Brecht plays, other than Threepenny Opera. It was just on a classic stage. It was I don't know if you heard about it. It was with Tanya Pinkins, and she left the production. Anyways, God, I could talk about that all day and all night. But I directed that as a 17-year-old.
Wow.
And that is like sort of, I don't want to toot my own horn, but it's sort of unheard of, like for someone that young to want to direct that play. And they didn't ask me a damn question about it. And I was sort of like, and at the time I was not like, well, why didn't they ask me? Look at me, I'm so cool. It wasn't that. It was just like a click in my head being like, they obviously like didn't think.
Why did they invite you then?
Well, I had to apply, so I chose to apply there.
Okay.
And so, but obviously, like in my mind at the time, I was like, well, it doesn't matter what I said after that, because to them, the acting portion was more important.
I see.
While Carnegie Mellon, I started off with the portfolio. I actually started off with my writing. So I handed over my writing and he read it and he was like, oh, yeah, this is good. And then we talked about portfolio. And then at the end, he was like, oh, yeah, you got to do a monologue for me. Do the monologue. So then I did the monologue. And he was like, okay. He cut me halfway through. He's like, you can act. You're good. Moving on. So at Carnegie Mellon, it was more about like your ideas and your passion and the choices you've made that have led you to this moment.
I see.
And while acting was like, it doesn't really matter because you're not here to study acting. And at Boston, I remember distinctly, it was like they didn't want me because I was not what they were looking for, an actor. Even though I was applying for the directing degree. They don't have a directing degree, but if you were studying directing, you'd be going into this part.
Okay.
And so, so that's sort of the audition process. But yeah, and I just to go back to the mentor thing, I remember this moment, that another moment, because I think as a young person, you really need moments where people tell you you're good at something.
Yes.
It's so important. It's so important.
And you never forget that.
And it stays with you.
It's honest,
It stays with you. And those are the moments that tell you, okay, I can do it. Even though it's going to be hard, I can do it because of that one moment. Because someone believed in me for that minute or whatever it was. Or someone felt it was so important to tell you that they believed in you.
Yes,
Lots of people might believe in you, but for them to step into that vulnerable position and tell them that you're good is important. And I remember this moment where I finish my thesis production at Carnegie Mellon.
Mm-hmm.
And Jed, my head of my program, like grabbed me right after the show and said, I'd never said this before, blah, blah, blah. And he said something very, very sweet to me.
Yeah.
I can't really remember exactly the specifics of what he said, but it was a moment where I felt so genuine from him, and he's always genuine, but felt like he was saying, keep going, keep doing this. You've got something to say. You've got something. This is what you are. You are this. And I remember I just burst into tears, and he said something that he probably doesn't say to many people.
Yes. Yeah.
And I remember being like, in that moment saying and I had to walk, I had to take a walk, being like, okay, I need 20 minutes of alone time now, but definitely those moments of saying, okay, when it's hard, these are the moments that's gonna push me.
True. And you need that in art.
Yeah, every young person needs that, not only in art, but in anything.
But especially in the arts, because there's no if you want to be an accountant, you go to school, you get an accounting degree, you get a job,
right?
You start making money,
right?
But to be an artist, you come out of school, and that's the beginning of your struggle. There's no map, no road. You could go get an MFA in acting, do all those things, and somebody off the street who just got out of his 9-to-5 job will get a role before you. Yeah. So there's no plan. There's no plan.
So
in the arts, I just feel like it's more difficult.
It is definitely. Yeah. It's definitely. But I'm also thinking of, anything where expression, personal expression has to be part of, because I'm thinking about also writers. There's young writers out there.
Same thing.
Same thing. Yeah. Where there's not enough in school, teachers saying, wow, because as a 9-year-old or as a 10-year-old or whatever, when you write something, obviously it's not going to be great, but if there's a connection happening for that young person in their brain where they're getting excited about that, teachers need to say, you're good at this, even if it's a lie, not a lie, but even though it's not what will get them to pay the bills later on, this one thing that they wrote when they were 9. Yeah. But teachers need to say, you can have a future in this. That's so important to tell people, to tell young children that you're good at this. Yeah. I believe you can do this. It's so important.
Yes. Yeah. Let's talk about your work.
Okay.
Yeah. I looked up some of them.
Okay.
Maybe you could talk about anyone you want to talk about.
Oh goodness.
I looked up Blank My Life. That's gonna be a web series, right?
It's a web series.
Yeah. Some others. The others are mostly stage shows,
stage plays.
But I read up about them and looked at the pictures you have there. I like Secondhand Shakespeare.
Yeah.
So talk about anyone. It doesn't have to be these ones.
Right.
I can come back. Right. Talk about maybe the latest or the one you want people to know more about.
Right. Well, gosh, there's so many different things. I guess
there are a lot of things. Yeah, you've done a lot of things. That's good. That's great.
Yeah, no, it's I've been super lucky about doing that.
Yes.
A friend of mine, never mind, I won't say it. But it's so I have my company Third Space, and then I have me as a director, but mostly all of my directing now is falling under Third Space as a company. Okay. With Third Space, which we started in October 2014, maybe, with our first piece, it was a reading that we did, and mostly
reading is like you have a script and a bunch of actors are reading it and trying to come up with how to
Yeah,
do it. Okay.
exactly. It was a reading of a play that's actually coming to New York next year. It's called Stupid Fucking Bird.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a modern adaptation of The Seagull by Chekhov. And it's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really about art and having a life in art.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of just like The Seagull in that sense, but it's modern. So it's exactly what The Seagull would have been when it came out, when it premiered back then. For those audiences, it's what it is now for us. And so we did a reading of it, and we got this like really cool house in Brooklyn that had a backyard and then had this cool roof access. And the play is divided into 3 acts. And so we did act 1 in the garden.
Yeah.
And then an act 2 we did inside their kitchen. And then act 3 we did on their roof. And so we moved the audience from one act to the next around this house. And it was really, really cool. And now looking back on it, I'm sort of like, oh gosh. But what we did was to get people moving from one location to the next, whenever they arrived at that location, there was shots of vodka. So they were constantly drinking and vodka because of the Russian.
Yes. Yeah. The origin of
the original, so people were drinking lots of vodka, and the characters were drinking as well anyways. But we get up on the roof, and people have already had 3 or 4 shots of vodka, and then they're gonna have more. You're like, oh god, here are 50 people on this roof drinking. It could be a real big problem. This could be the end of the company at the very first event. But then we did a couple other readings. We've done a new musical that we're working on. And then we did this production where I was the resident artist at the Brick in Brooklyn. And we did a production called Fireface, which was my thesis at Carnegie Mellon, but I sort of conceived it. Not like radically reconceived it, because it's still the same play, but I redesigned it with my designers. And then we came up with a completely different ending to it. Totally different ending. And we also put in 20 more scenes, because the play is about 100 scenes. And
huge.
Huge. It's very, very like expressionistic and sort of cinematic about how it moves from scene to scene. And so I did it in one way at CMU, and then I continued honing that and fix the problems that I saw originally to make it much more fluid, to make it what I feel like it could have been back then. But, I needed 2 more years to figure it out. And so we did that, and I had an amazing cast. And we also, the goal of it was to hire professional adult actors to play the parents in it. Because in school I had students playing the parents. And I got these amazing actors. All of the actors were unbelievable. And so we did that, and we got New York Times to come and see it. And got a review. I know, that's pretty cool. And they wrote really, really great stuff.
Amazing.
And then because of the review, Jay Wegman from the Abrams Arts Center, which is a awesome theater complex that does a lot of work, dance, arts, music, theater work, year round. He read the New York Times review and booked his ticket like immediately, and came to see it and loved it, and then gave us a residency at Abrams. Right now, and we have this 2 months residency there, and right now I'm in rehearsal. I'm in we're starting Monday. We're starting our 3rd week of rehearsals, and we're doing.
And what's the name of the
piece that we're doing now? It's called "The Bitter Tears of Petra von Kant."
Okay,
and it's by Rainer Werner Fassbinder.
Okay,
and it is probably the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life.
Okay.
And I constantly choose projects that are not easy, things that I just want to challenge myself.
Yeah.
Because as a young person, I've got nothing to lose
lose, yeah.
because most likely people are not going to come to see my work.
Yeah. You're not gonna die. That's the worst.
I'm not going to die. I'm not going to die. My career's not going to tank.
Yeah.
Because of all the people that I do invite to come see it, almost none show up. And so I might as well take a risk.
Yes.
I mean, the only person that gave me my next thing showed up, and I didn't even know him. I didn't even invite him.
See.
And so be true to what I am and what I believe,
Yeah.
and take challenges with that.
Do you know when it's going to play?
So it's a residency. It's a workshop residency.
Yeah.
So we're having a showing of it
Okay.
on April 11th.
Okay.
It's a closed showing, so it's for invited audience only.
Okay. And then after that, you don't know when it's going to be open to the public
No,
yet. Okay.
I'm hoping
Yeah.
that either Abrams puts it on or
Yeah.
some other theater
Yeah.
that, the producers come and see it. I mean, there's another theater that I think would definitely produce it.
Yeah.
That I'm in talks with, but I like it to be somewhere.
Of course. Of course.
And I'm.
And
so,
this
yeah.
is under Third Space, right?
This is under third
Third
space.
Space,
Yes,
okay.
this is under third space.
Yeah. All right. So, can you talk a little bit about Third Space, like one or two sentences of what the company? Because I know you have to run pretty soon.
Really already?
No.
Oh, 6:13. We got 45 minutes.
Oh, okay, great. Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, it's all you. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you told me you had to be somewhere at 7. So
No, I have to
I'm
be
like-
somewhere at 7:30.
Okay.
So I have to
okay.
leave here
Yeah.
by 7.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, good.
Great. So, can we talk about Third Space?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
One or two sentences about third space. So
You can take 4 sentences now. I thought you had to be
no.
somewhere at 7.
So third space started as a collective
Okay.
of people that could help each other out by banding together as one entity.
Yeah.
And so let's say 5 people that just graduated Carnegie Mellon, and they each have one thing, but together they have 5 things.
Yeah.
And so as a young person, it's very, very difficult to get your first thing
Yes.
here in the city because people will only give you something if they know that it's going to be good, but you can't prove it to anyone because you're not doing anything.
Yeah. And good to them means profitable.
Good to them means profitable, especially nowadays. Yeah. Yeah. It's not. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there are definitely places that care less about profit.
Okay.
I mean, not care less about profit, but it's important to create good work.
Okay.
And I believe Abrams Art Center is definitely that place where they said, they're not making any money by having me work there for 2 months. I'm not giving them anything.
Yeah.
They're saying, here, you create. And so there are places like that. And so it's tough to get those places though, because if you don't do work. So the point of Third Space was an entity that a lot of people could work under and can claim as us as a collective.
Yeah.
And we work together.
Do you guys have a theme? It's like, because when I was looking up Third Space,
No
this was
theme.
before I interviewed your friend.
Yeah. No theme.
Okay.
You couldn't find anything, right? Could you find a theme?
Political, social
Yeah.
stuff. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, so the problem with collectives
Yeah.
is that it ends up being the theme are the people in a collective. While a company, the theme might be the director, the person who's heading it up, or the theme, like let's say MTC or Roundabout, let's say. The theme of Roundabout is not Todd Haynes. Haynes. Oh, shoot. Haynes. The theme is not him. The theme is revivals. the theme of, but let's say the theme of Civilians, the theme is Steve Cousin and Michael Friedman. It's a company that I work for occasionally. And so there are different companies that are different themes.
I see.
So in a collective, the theme is the collective, the group of people.
Okay.
And slowly I ended up doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
And so it ended up being a lot of the stuff that I was doing.
Okay.
So Third Space sort of became the work that Bryce Cutler and myself were doing together.
Nice.
And then all of these other artists that would be involved for one-off things. But everything I do is Third Space, unlike someone else that might be doing a Third Space production, but they're not everything they do is Third Space. So right now what Third Space is, because we're still evolving.
Yes.
I'm still learning a lot, and again, like, returns to the fact that I'm still trying to figure it out, and I've got nothing to lose.
Amazing. How is funding?
How's funding?
How do you get
Well,
that's
art funding. I think
how does that happen?
tough. It's tough. So art funding. So I'm of the belief that you can make something with nothing. So when we did Stupid Fucking Bird, I think our total money we spent was like $200, and it was whatever I had in my bank account. And then when we did Crack Tar, I think the total was like $300. And then and that was just for the space. And then everything else we got for free, or and then for Blank My Life, the first season was like the budget, I don't know, it could have been like $200. I mean, it was whatever she wanted when Alex Beath bought beer, like that was the budget. Everything else was free.
Yeah.
And so we were at that place for a while, for about a year. We were at that place where free was our budget.
Okay.
And
that's possible because you guys are like a collective. You guys are this group of young artists who have a common goal. So it's easy to give all you have. Yeah.
And we can band together our resources. So, I had whatever. I have an inn where I could make photocopies of my job. I could make photocopies there. And then, this person knew that person, and that person owns a studio, so we could use the studio for free. And things like that.
Nice.
So we did that. And then for Fireface, a goal of mine was that because I had gotten this theater and the theater wanted me to do Fireface there, I said, if I'm going to do this play again, I've got to do it differently. I've got to think of a new way in to this play, and I should do it with more money, because I don't want to do it again and have less money than my budget when I had it at school. And so, our budget ended up being $17,000 for that play.
Growing. Still small, but
still tiny, but very much a Actors Equity Showcase Code production. Anything under $35,000 is a showcase, which means that the director makes about $200. But in my case, because I'm the director of the company, I paid everyone else. I didn't get paid.
You didn't get paid.
So I didn't. But $200 was not going to make it or break it.
I know.
I mean, everyone got $200, something like that, and so everyone is doing it for another reason, not for the money. And it's during the summer, so it's easier to get actors to do stuff then, because there's not that many auditions. And so it worked out. It really, really worked out. But for funding for that was very much like, I'd say maybe 99% of the people that donated to us knew us. And that's just because it's
Did
we're
you
still
do
young.
like a Kickstarter?
We did a Kickstarter, so we
Okay.
independently raised some money.
Yeah.
We raised about, I'd say, maybe $5,000, and then we did a Kickstarter for, I believe, 10.
Did you
10,000.
reach your goal?
We actually surpassed our goal. We got up to
Nice.
12 on Kickstarter.
Wow.
And we got up to 10. We got up to our goal with like a week before the end of it.
Yeah.
So then we had a week where we're like, oh my God, we can keep going. We can
Yeah.
keep making money. And so we raised 125% of our goal, or 130% of our goal,
great.
which is great, which
Yeah.
is really, really, really great. Like lots of wonderful people donated. And people that some people that I've never met before, but you know, are parents of friends, and lots of people that said, you know, to me, like, I believe in you, I believe in the project, like I don't donate to everything, I'm going to donate to you. And a lot of those people that came to see the show ended up saying to me afterwards, after the show, saying, I saw this play before and I'm seeing it again, and I'm realizing it, how you know, how much I loved it, and how I want to donate for everything to all of your projects.
That's great.
And so people said, you know, whenever you need money, like, let me know, which is
That's great.
unbelievable.
Yes.
Really unbelievable.
That's great.
And so I know I have supporters, and you know, and I do what I need to do to keep those relationships going without bothering them.
Yes.
Obviously, you know, as a young person, I can't bother them, but you know, those people are the ones that are going to come to the showing of the
Yes.
Bitter Tears. You know, those are the people that are going to have more exclusive looks at the process, so that they can understand what it's like to be a young director in the city.
Wow. Now, you have this this web series, and most of your work have been theater, live stage. Do you plan to transition to screen, to on screen?
Yeah. Well, so my mother and my father and my grandmother were all in film and television
Oh, wow.
before they ended up doing what they're doing now. My grandmother on my German side, she was a costume designer and a playwright in Berlin.
Okay.
And then her son, my father, was a TV producer and then produced also a couple films. And my mother was a production manager, and now she's a videographer. So I've been around cameras for my entire life.
I see.
And I've had to film for my mom's company. She's a videographer, as I said. I've had to film a bunch of weddings and a bunch of bar mitzvahs and and school shows and graduation. So I know how to use a camera, and I've edited before a lot. So going into video and directing for the camera was not that strange of a transition, especially because also at Carnegie Mellon you have 2 semesters of directing for the camera. So there is a class where you do that and you walk away with a short episode, a couple short episodes that you've directed.
Nice.
Which is great. But it was like, I have to say, when we have a camera and when we have the script and we're filming, especially the very first episode, it was very much like learning on the spot, being like, here's this new camera, here's, how do you light? Like I didn't have to light before because if I was filming a wedding, the lighting was going to be in the church. And if I filmed those little episodes that we did for Carnegie Mellon, the lighting designers lit. But now that I'm in New York and I'm filming a small web series with my friend in my living room, I don't know how to light. I have no idea. And so it was very much like figuring that out. And gosh, those first episodes were so terrible. They looked so bad.
I didn't notice
They weren't
anything.
terrible, but I mean, you can't see them because we're not showing them to people. But we had to reshoot a bunch of stuff because we're like, God, like we didn't know what we were doing. And now, I mean, they look gorgeous.
Yes.
And this next season that's coming out on Valentine's Day, check it out, 2016 Valentine's Day.
I saw it.
There's some of them that look unbelievable. Where we've done 4 episodes this past season with a red camera, which is a $7,000 camera. And our friend Adam Hagenbu, who went to Carnegie Mellon with me, and he's on a bunch of TV shows. He's on Undateable, and he's on oh gosh, what's the other one? I forgot the other one. But he's a recurring character on many TV shows. Like you'll definitely recognize him. He flew over to New York
From
LA and brought all of his equipment, and we shot 4 episodes in 1 week.
Awesome.
And amongst other things we filmed, and they looked so good.
Wow. I'm gonna put links to it.
Yeah.
on the website.
Definitely pull links. And by the end of this season, we'll have shot shot 20 episodes in 2 years. And this is through Third Space. And because Third Space's goal as well is to create not only theater performances and theater experiences, but also film, web series experiences, so that we can build an audience that's outside of just New York.
Nice.
And music experiences is the next level that we're going to start a workshop of that with Trevor McQueen, actually, where we're going to do a new music theater experience that we're building. But right now we're tackling the film side.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Let's switch to the fun part of the show.
The fun part.
Yeah.
This was not fun. I had fun.
This more cerebral fun.
Okay.
This is like ridiculous fun.
Okay, good.
Yeah. It was all fun. Trust me.
Okay, good. Good.
Maybe it wasn't it was more cerebral fun because I was just learning. I'm just soaking a lot of things with you. So, and that's great, Your embarrassing story. This segment, I call it No You Didn't. So tell us something that happened to you. It doesn't have to be work related. It could be anything that you embarrassed yourself and you.
Oh my God.
It could be.
I have to tell you, I totally forgot you were going to ask me this.
Okay.
I have to think about it.
You have to think about it?
Oh,
okay.
Embarrassing story. I mean, I have a bunch of embarrassing stories, but I think that they're totally inappropriate and I wouldn't want anybody to know.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But I can think of one. I can definitely think of one. Oh, shoot. I should have thought of this earlier. Embarrassing story. Oh, gosh. Do you have another question? I can think about it.
Yes. I have this segment is called Turn Up or Mute. This is like I'll just give you something, give you a word, and you tell me if you like it, turn up. A word, a person, a thing, a person. If you like it, you turn up. If you don't like it, you mute. You're free to explain why you like it. Okay.
Oh, I like this.
Woody Allen.
Mute.
I kind of agree with you. Do you have a reason?
Well, he's a like whenever I think of Woody Allen, I just make this sound. Just like a creep.
How about as a director?
As a director, I don't like his style so much.
Okay.
His earlier movies were definitely wonderful.
Okay.
I really, really loved some earlier films, but recently I just don't like anything.
Yeah.
I also don't like some of the actors he picks. Like, I really can't stand those Wilson brothers.
Yeah.
I really don't like them. I hated Midnight in Paris. I just found it so trite.
Yeah, like I watched, the last one I saw was Blue Jasmine, and
I didn't see it.
I didn't.
You didn't like
I don't
it?
understand the point of the movie. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going.
Also, I saw that one that he did with Larry David, which I love Larry David, but
I like Larry David.
God, that movie was terrible.
I didn't see the movie.
Ugh, don't. Larry David in movies he's not very good at movies.
He's a comedian, and I feel like he's more of himself kind of comedian. He tries best. in
Right.
himself, yeah.
When it's him, when he's playing
when
a
he's-
version of himself. But when he's doing other people's writing, it comes out all fake.
Yeah. Pizza.
Turn up.
Turn up. Okay. What's
Oh,
your best type of pizza?
Mushroom.
Mushroom. Okay. Mine is plain.
You like it plain?
Yeah, plain, very light cheese.
Very
plain
light
pizza.
cheese, yeah.
Almost no cheese, but plain.
Wow.
Thin,
Wow.
plain pizza.
Yeah, thin's really good.
Okay.
Although it's not really. Thin's pretty good. Do you eat like Two Bros?
No.
Do you know Two Bros?
I've seen. It's like a franchise, right? Or is
It's
it
like a
just one?
franchise. Yeah, it's like a franchise. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
But they're $1 slices of pizza, and because it's so cheap, they don't put that much cheese on it anyway. So you might like it.
Yeah.
But the bread is actually really good. Like the actual bread that they use is like so much better than other $1 pizzas. So it ends up, and the tomato sauce is not bad at all.
Oh,
I have to say that for $1, that's the place to go.
That's okay. I'll try it out.
And this
I have to
program
tell you a
brought
story.
to you by Two Bros.
That's That's what's up. I have a story to tell you.
Yeah.
Since you're Italian, you're German, you have Italian in you, right?
I do, yeah. I speak
And then
fluently.
you lived in France.
And I lived in France.
All right. Check this out.
Okay.
I was in Paris.
Yeah.
This was when I was in college at Duquesne. I went to Duquesne. For my undergrad.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. I went to Duquesne for my undergrad, and
Oh,
then
I knew
I went to Pitt for grad school. But we went to. I was traveling with my choir, the chambers choir of this school, and we went to this place. It took us like an hour to get to this restaurant that everybody was raving about. They said, "Oh, it's the best Italian food," which I think is true. The food was amazing. But what this guy did that day is this. He'll just see you and tell you, "Oh, I know what to give to you." Like he won't. Like we opened ourselves up. We agreed to do that. So he just sees you and say, "Okay, I'm gonna make this for you," and he'll make it and give it to you.
Oh, so he kind of looks at you and decides
Yeah,
what are you gonna
decide some
Right.
stuff. Like he might.
Did you
ask
give him
if
like did you give him like a couple keywords or something, or
I told. He's like, do you like this kind of pasta, linguine pasta? I said yes, and his English wasn't that good, and he was speaking in French. I understood a little bit. I said yes, but then he brought it, really nice pasta,
really?
but the cheese was too much. He put like too much cheese on top of it, so it became almost like cake.
Oh, right.
I couldn't. Some people would like it, but I just ate a little bit of it. I paid for it.
Yeah.
But the guy wasn't happy.
He wasn't happy with that. You weren't happy?
He was mad at me. He started insulting me.
He's French?
He's
I mean,
Italian
yeah.
and French or something. He was speaking in French.
Yeah, I don't think he was mad at you. I think he was mad probably at himself and like getting it wrong, because he probably values himself being good at that.
It. People explain to him that I like it, but I'm not too good with cheese.
Yeah.
But so that was just my little anecdote.
Well, I have to say I always feel like I end up apologizing for the unfriendly French people in this world.
No, some French people are amazing though. I'm not.
Yes.
I'm not like other Americans criticize French people without even meeting French people.
Right.
I think they're amazing people.
Well, I remember I left France when I was it was 99, but we ended up selling our house in France in 2001 or 2002, something like that. But then the next time I went there was when I was in 2002 I think I went there again. We were closing up our house.
Yeah.
And I had just left in 1999. So this was 3 years before I had left. And I go to our bakery where we usually go to pick up our bread in the morning. And I went there and I went to pick up some bread, and I talked to her and I said, "Can I please have two whatever?" And she said, oh, no, I speak English. And I'm like, well, I'm glad you speak English, but I speak French.
Yes.
And apparently my accent had changed or something. And she said, no, let's speak in English. And I'm like, I was born down the street. We can speak French. All right? Like this attitude of like, well, if it's not perfect, don't even try.
Yeah.
Which was like very much a reflection of like how some French people can be.
Yeah, I see. I had a friend who was working with people in France. You know, he speaks some French. They speak some English. His French is better at French more than their English.
Right.
You understand what I mean? So he was speaking in French, and they were trying to speak in English, and he would be trying to speak in French, and they would try to speak English. He said, he was telling me, he's like, Lorens, this was such work. It's like I'm trying to please you. You're trying to please me.
Yeah.
At the end, nobody has an orgasm.
Right. Right. It's so true. So true. And so also, I don't know, something about Europeans that like when you tell them that you're from Europe, especially here in America, when I run into someone from Germany or from Italy or from France, I'll be like, oh yeah, I was born there or I lived there. Or something. They're all like, okay. They like couldn't care less. But when I'm in Europe and I see another American around and they're like, oh yeah, I live in New York. They're like, oh my God, where do you live? And I'm like, are you from New York? They're like, no, but we both speak English. And they're like the friendliest people ever. But Europeans here, it's like sort of like the Europeans that came over here.
You're a fake European.
Yeah, like I'm a fake European, or at least the Europeans that they ship over here, or like the bad batch Europeans. It's like, give me some friendly Europeans here in Europe and here in America. Or maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm just meeting the wrong Europeans here.
Okay. I have 4 more questions.
Yes.
Let's make it quick. Hillary Clinton.
Oh, turn up.
Turn up. Okay.
Yes, totally turn up.
Because I know Bryce is all
Bernie Sanders. Yeah, I don't have a problem with Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
I think that the thing is, I think that the world will be a better place with Bernie Sanders as president.
If he's able to do all the things that he wants.
If he's able to do all the things, yes. I think that the government...
Because all the things he's talking about, he's talking as if Republicans don't exist anymore.
Right.
You understand? He's talking as if the Republicans are just going to all die and he's going to take over the world.
Yeah, and everyone's going to say yes. Yeah, he definitely lives in the world that, well, if I get elected, then that's obviously sending a message to Congress saying that this is the changes that they want.
Yeah.
And Congress is then just going to bow down and allow it to happen, which I don't think is going to happen.
No. Yeah.
I mean, especially not with the Republicans that we have now. The Republicans that we have now are the most...
There's it's a whole other show.
Just inept. Completely inept. And I think the Republicans have to definitely come up with a new idea of what being Republican is, or what Republican platform is. I think that they're alienating foreigners. I think that they're alienating South America.
Everybody. Like,
they're alienating everyone. They're alienating everyone. They have truly no
base
supporters.
Is like it's group a very tiny subset of crazy white people, for lack of a better word to say it. It's like, how would you like God, you hate foreigners, and then you love guns? It's like, okay, all those things only go together in America.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. They don't go together anywhere else, and it's surprising because Republicans for so long have been the party of unifying people, of bringing of minorities as well.
True.
And
back in the day.
And I mean, even Reagan.
Yeah.
Reagan had the asylum, not the asylum, but the what's it called? Everyone could, whoever was in, I forgot exactly the word, and I'm really terrible with words, but everyone who was in the country at that time during Reagan's presidency, everyone became American. All the foreigners that weren't, and just something that like only
amnesty.
Thank you. There was amnesty during Reagan's.
Yeah.
I mean,
Reagan was crazy. Reagan was
crazy.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. But there was, for the fact that there was amnesty during our Republican president.
Yeah.
Only people that are still living within that generation is crazy. That right now the Republicans have almost no sensible platforms.
They don't.
They don't.
Yeah.
And so I think that the problem is that Bernie, for me right now, is because the Republicans are so unwieldy and because they are so unfounded in reality and unfounded in actual solutions to fix a country, that I'm afraid that if Bernie becomes the Democratic nominee, that it's so easily that the Republicans will band together against Bernie.
Exactly. Yeah. Because all they're going to say is, how is it going to do? Because he says it's going to increase taxes.
Right.
In America, I know that in Europe, they pay a little bit more, but they get a whole lot more.
They get a whole lot more.
In America, we're already paying enough taxes for nothing.
For nothing. For nothing. No, transportation is outrageously expensive. Art is outrageously expensive.
Exactly.
I mean, all of the
Healthcare,
services, healthcare, all the services that we get in Europe are excellent. Some of the best in the world.
Of course. I know.
And it's because we pay for it and it goes to it. You go to Europe and even something like in Germany or the streets are clean and they're well taken care of. And there's, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is pothole central.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like every year you get new tires in Pittsburgh. It's terrible. It's because they haven't even figured out that you don't put the salt on the ground all the time. And they make these giant potholes and they don't fix anything. And then you go to the art museum and you pay out the ass to go see art. And you're like, why am I paying so many taxes, much taxes for nothing? And so back to that. That's why I think that right now, even though Hillary Clinton might be seeing only what's possible instead of only what's probable instead of what's possible, she might not be the president that's going to fix the country, but she's definitely going to be the president that's going to get us one step closer to fixing the country. Because I think that if Bernie Sanders becomes president and everything he says is possible, I think the country will be reinvigorated and will be better for the next 100 to 150 years. Because the changes that he's suggesting are possible because it worked in Germany. I mean, Germany is a new country. Germany has been a new country only for the past 26 years. When the wall came down, it became a new country. And the basis of that country are very much what Bernie Sanders is talking about. And that country is doing amazingly well. So the fact that Bernie Sanders, the suggestions, the platforms that he's making, is not that it's not possible. It just might not be possible because of the Republicans in this country, because of the bad leadership that is in the Republican Party. And someone even like what's his name, Ryan, where he comes in, and Ryan has the possibility of restructuring the Republican Party. He really is a young, intelligent guy. But when he goes in there and says, well, I'm not going to do anything until Barack Obama's out of the presidency. I'm not going to touch this platform. I'm not going to touch this. I'm not going to touch that. It is for shame. He is a shameful public figure, because that is not what we need in our politicians. We need someone to inspire, not someone to say, I'm not going to do any of this shit. I'm not going to do this shit that is possibly good for the country. I'm not going to talk about these things. I'm going to wait. The people are literally not living the life that they could be living because of people like him, because of shameful politicians. And I think that someone like Bernie Sanders could change that up, could, really do good things, could, instead of putting a Band-Aid on the problems, which might be how Hillary Clinton might be president. She might be putting more Band-Aids, but she'll be putting the good Band-Aids.
Yeah, but the thing with Hillary Clinton is her approach is valid. It's easier to to go by making those incremental changes and building upon what Obama has done. But in addition to saying that, she's proven that she could make it work,
Yeah.
you know. But Bernie Sanders, even though Bernie Sanders has records, what he's saying is really, really out there.
Yeah.
No, but like we haven't tested you in being able to do this,
Right.
in being able to give us free
In being able
tuition.
to reach
Yeah.
across the aisle
Yeah,
and talk to
and
Republicans about it.
exactly, yeah. So that's the thing.
I mean, the biggest problem that even Obama said in his State of the Union address, this latest one, was like, I could have done, and I'm paraphrasing Obama, but I could have done a better job working with the Republicans. Or I could have done a better job educating people about what my beliefs were, or what my philosophy, or what are the next steps we're going to do. Because a lot of Republicans, the first thing they'll say about Obama is like, well, he doesn't care about Republicans.
But before the first week in his office, they said that their one single goal is to make him a one-term president. That's what they said.
Right. Yeah. So there's a lot of opposition that he had to fight against. But I also believe that he recognized that maybe he wasn't the best, and he's not at blame. He's not at fault only, but a lot of the people right now that are in powerful positions didn't work together, or not working together.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't know if, unfortunately, for me, I feel like Clinton can do a better job at working together with Republicans than Bernie can.
Then Bernie. Well, let's see.
We'll see. I mean, but if Bernie becomes president, I think the world's going to be a better place.
Me too. I just don't know how electable he is.
Yeah. But of the Republicans, I have to say, because, I have to say that I think Kasich is the best Republican.
He is, but nobody's paying attention to him.
Nobody's paying attention to him.
Crazy.
He's not crazy. He's not crazy. And maybe he needs to be a little bit crazier, because all he needs to do is get through this primary. Yeah. And if Kasich becomes president, I don't think it would be a bad thing either.
No, me too. I don't.
But anyways.
I know. We could talk about this.
I could talk about this, politics is like my favorite thing to talk about. I mean, I studied political philosophy, so the arguments is things that I love.
Another one.
Yeah.
Audra McDonald.
I love Audra McDonald.
Okay.
Turn up.
Okay.
She's great. I saw her in Porgy and Bess.
Oh, okay.
Did you see Porgy and Bess?
No. I should go out more. Just like you don't go down, you don't come up a lot. I hardly go down because my job is on 242nd Street.
Okay.
And by the time I come back, I'm done.
Of course. No, but she was in Porgy and Bess. And Porgy and Bess, and even though, never mind, I don't want to say it.
Yeah.
I was going to talk poorly about someone, but I probably shouldn't do that.
Okay.
But Porgy and Bess.
You mean David Allen Greer?
No, I was not talking about any of the actors.
Okay.
The actors were wonderful.
Okay.
Every single one of them. There was this moment where oh my goodness, what was his name? The gentleman who played Porgy.
I can't
my
remember.
goodness. Colm. Oh shoot.
My
feel
brain
terrible.
is.
Yeah, my brain too.
Yeah.
But Porgy, the gentleman who played Porgy, does this one lyric where he's like, you my woman, you're my woman now, or I forgot the exact lyric, but that song right before where he's like, they're going back and forth and they're singing, and it's just like immediately you maybe it's you is my woman or something, best whatever it was, and just like burst out into tears like immediately, like this moment of just like pure theater, of pure emotional catharsis was unbelievable. And it was because of the two of them. They just worked so well together.
Wow.
And she was just perfect.
Yes.
I love her.
I love her voice.
Yeah.
Lastly, weed.
Weed?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, turn it up.
Okay.
Of course, turn it up. I have to say, I don't smoke that much.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a very productive high.
I know.
Unfortunately. So, and my roommates, I mean, I'm sure you asked Bryce this question.
I didn't.
You didn't?
No.
Okay, well, I don't want to out him. But let's just say he's very, very productive.
Productive.
He's a productive person. Nothing to do with...
It depends on the strain you buy, too.
Yeah,
Like
well, he's productive with
strain.
everything.
Yeah.
With everything. But I'm not productive at all.
Yeah.
Like, I am very much the person, even when I have a drink, I'll like drink something or smoke something, and then I'll hang out, and then I'll like watch something, and I will pass out. Like 5 minutes in, I will pass out.
Some people are like that. What's your favorite food to go to for when you get the munchies?
Oh goodness. I'm in a transition period right now, I have to say.
Okay.
Because your taste buds change every 7 years. So I used to be very much an ice cream person.
Okay.
But because I'm lactose intolerant, I've been deciding not to do as much ice cream. So now I'm in a chip phase. And I really love chips now. I used to hate chips. Used to never, ever, ever eat chips. But now I'm all about the chips.
Nice. What kind of chips?
I really love barbecue sauce chip, barbecue, chips. Really, really like those. And then there's this one, I forgot what brand it was, but they have... It's called something like Island or Creek, maybe something Creek. I don't know. But they have sweet onion chips. Yeah. It's like a purple bag. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I know.
You know those?
Yeah, I know those.
Where are they? Creek something?
I can't remember the name.
It could be Island Creek.
But
or like River Creek. I don't know.
I can't remember.
But those. Sweet onion.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Or Maui onion. I think it's called Maui onion.
The one I know is it has island in it. It has a little bit. It's a little bit hot, spicy.
Oh, I don't know. One? Maybe I don't know. I eat so much spicy stuff that I don't taste it anymore.
Yeah. I don't eat chips that much, but I know the chips you're talking about.
Yeah. Oh, I feel so terrible. I still haven't thought of the embarrassing story.
We're gonna do this again.
Oh, we are?
Yes.
You're gonna call me back?
Yes.
Okay, good. But we gotta talk about politics next time.
Agree, yes.
We
can have a whole hour of politics.
Let's do a whole hour of politics.
Okay, great.
Because I really need to call some bitches out.
Yeah. It's gonna
and I want to talk about also like the problems with here of being, a young theater person in the city.
Okay.
And I think I also want to talk about like producers.
Okay. Great.
I mean, if you'll have me back.
Of course. I just told you, if you're going to come back.
I'm going to come back.
Okay.
I have to come back and see this part of town.
I really want to see the growth.
I
want to come back after you. Maybe you big time me by then.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Because I felt like I learned a lot, and I want to see like you and Bryce and Trevor. I want to see where Third Space is going. I know it might change to a whole new thing. I just want to see. I just want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So that's why I would like for you to come back. Yeah.
I happily come back.
Great. Ben, this has been great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you,
for doing
Lorens.
the show. All right.
Thank you.
Great.
A rainy day has come. Oh my goodness. You try to keep up, spite of weakness. I bring you no one, leaving you so blue. I can feel you vex. Could it be your ex? I should get closer now. You gotta tell me how, but I just don't know how. But the feeling keeps getting much stronger. Can I handle this force? This I wonder. But if wish I was free to be your own. I wish I was free. I'd give me to you. So let the truth be told.
Oh yes, it should.
Maybe I am not cold.
No, not at all.
But I have been taken.
Well, that's a lie.
And maybe in love.
Actually, I'm just afraid of that thing they call love.
But the feeling keeps getting much stronger. Can I handle this force? I wonder. But if I was free, I'd give me to you. I wish I was free to be your own. I think you should know. I wish I was free. I'd give me to you. I wish I was free to be your own. I think you should know. I wish I was free. I'd give me to you. Shoo-be-doo, shoo-be-doo, shoo-be-doo-doo-doo-doo. It's funny how you bring so much goodness to me. I try to keep up in spite of my weaknesses. Oh, you ease out my sickness. Why do I make you so blue?
I bet you like that one, girl.
But the feeling much feeling I have for you. Can I hurt you? Got it stronger and stronger and stronger. But if I was free, I'd give